Welcome to Vineyard Church Dungannon, where we're walking together deeper into faith. The following message was given at one of our Sunday gatherings. For more information, visit vineyarddungannon.co.uk.
What a week. This time last week I got Caitlin and Bethany gathered up and I said, there's a lot on this week, so let's get ourselves organised. And it didn't work out because yesterday we were having a coffee morning in school, Marie Curie and Macmillan coffee morning. We have it every year. And we'd heard about Stormy Amy, but I just went, well, let's wait and see what happens. And I delivered scones over to Cookstown at 8 and said to John, I said, listen, we'll make a call at lunchtime. If we think the buses need to leave half an hour early, we'll do that. Got back to school and there was an email sitting from the Education Authority saying all schools close at 12. Well, that was the whole day gone. It was a disaster from beginning to end. So therefore, the notes on today's sermon are scant. One word. It says weather. Weather. So yesterday then, I had to go to a wedding in Middletown and then to Port Stewart. It was one of those weeks, you know. And I drove into a puddle that turned out to be a lake. And my car limped home and is still drying out. Fix me, yeah. It's still limping. This was all to get my two hands free. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Happy? Higher. Higher, higher. There's a game about this. Lower, higher.
There we go.
What do you think? Are you happy? Yes. Right. So, let's get to the point. I love plants. Are we going? PowerPoint? Yep. I love them if they're inside, and I love them if they're outside. And I didn't used to love indoor plants because I had to look after them. Outside plants, God looks after them. Rains and all that happens. But inside plants require a little bit more care and attention. And it's a sort of Sunday afternoon thing, isn't it? I get out my wee green watering can and my baby bio, Caitlin's head's in her hands, and I go around the house watering the plants. And there's two in Caitlin's bedroom. They're neglected if I'm not there. Bethany has a cactus. Can read anything into that. Other than, you just leave it alone. Don't touch it. Just leave it. And I water everything else. So I've brought a selection of my house plants here, and some of them have really funny names, and that's why I brought them. Boys and girls, do you want to come on up a wee bit closer so you can see them? Is anybody coming to the front row? I have lots for you to do and lots to see, so you might as well come up a wee bit closer. Ali wants to get right to the end so he can see. Oh no, he's gone back. Sorry, Ali. Have a seat. Because you have got to see these plants. Come on closer than that, boys. Way over here. There you go. Up you hop. There's, look, 1, 2, 3 seats. Chrissy, shift you over one there. Oh, make room for little people. Any more little people coming up? Aye, you're not little enough. Right. So, here are my indoor plants that I love. And you have to help me with these names. This one here. Mummies and daddies, don't shout out, because if you don't know this one, something's badly wrong. This one looks funny. It's got these things hanging off it. Does anybody know what it might be? It looks like a wee bit like a particular insect. I heard somebody say it. Like a spider. Like a spider. This is a spider plant. Wow. Yeah, and see these are the babies. And you put these wee babies in water and they grow another plant. Yeah, well, you know, we're not going anatomically correct here. So they don't have 8 legs. I know that. But I think generally it looks a wee bit like a spider. It also looks like hair. You could have called it the hair plant. Yeah, but it's a spider plant. So that's one funny name. The next one is a useful plant with a funny name. Now, this one's got a bit floppy because I've probably... You are so right. Aloe vera? Aloe vera plant. But if you can't remember its name, you just go, aloe vera? And then you remember. And what's useful about this plant? You can sunburn. You are right. Have you ever bought? You probably bought aloe vera for your poor red Irish skin when you go away. This, you can break a piece off. Let's do one. Break a piece off. Actually, there's a bit in the bottom of the bag. And there's a gel comes out of it. See? See that? Yeah, you get it in the bottle, but you don't need it in the bottle if you have a plant. And if you've got a wee sore or a burn, especially, you want to feel it? Feels like just... Right, come on, here you go. You want to feel it? it in. It's like jail. Do you want to think? And if you had a burn on your hand, that would heal it. Cool it and heal it. And if you have sunburn, it's great for sunburn. Anybody else need some? There we go. And the adults? Any sunburn? After yesterday, I really don't think sunburn's going to be on the menu, is it? No? So that's aloe vera. Very useful plant. Funny name. Aloe vera. Right. The next. You kids mightn't get this one as well, but adults will. This is sharp and spiky. It's called mother-in-law's tongue. And I am now at the stage of my life where I just call it mother-in-law's tongue. And there are certain young people who visit my house who will know all about that. So, mother-in-law's tongue. The next one is very healthy. It doesn't have a funny name. It's just a fern. It's massive. Oh, look at it. And it's grown, it's grown really, really well because I keep this in the bathroom. Right. You have a fern in the bathroom. Ferns love bathrooms because they are what? They're moist. Yes, moist. It doesn't. Well, would it stop it molding? It doesn't seem to get moldy even with the damp. So this is a lovely big healthy fern. But wait till you see what I've got in my bag. Oh dearie me! Somebody bought one for sparing you, and they didn't put it in the bathroom. They left it near a radiator. It was hot. It was dry. And the poor fern is not growing very well. It should look like this. It's not dead. It's not. I refuse to have dead plants. I will nurse them back. Look. What do you see?
A spider.
There's no spiders, I hope.
A seed?
Do you see a wee tiny baby one coming there?
Yeah.
Yeah? There's a baby one. There's a tiny wee leaf. And I've been watching this tiny wee leaf every Sunday. I go to water it. I give it a wee spritz with a spray. See, look. See that? It's going to be all right. If I put this in the bathroom now, it'll be healthy like this one. One more to show you. You don't eat that one? No, wouldn't eat any of these ones. I have a very, very, very rare specimen here. You'll never have seen this before. I don't think so. Are you ready? This is a very rare plant. What? It's green. It's a green cactus. It's very offended. Are you all right? No, he's not. He's offended. I'm sorry. Well, I better put him back in the dark because that's where he seems to like to be. He wants to go in a hot desert. No, he likes it in my house. The dog loves it. Dog can't understand it at all. Right, so that's the indoor plants. What about the outdoor plants? What's on now? A rose bush. I haven't got a rose bush with me. I love all the seasons. So let's test you now. In the springtime, what flowers are in my garden? Yay! And primroses, only the purple ones. What about the summer? This is a hard one. Anybody who's been to... I love that. Cosmos in summer. Autumn.
Sunflowers.
They are not sunflowers. Ha ha ha. They are not sunflowers. They're a funny name. They're very similar.
Dandelions.
Not dandelions, very similar.
Daffodils.
Come on, anybody?
Daffodils.
Black-eyed Susan, yes. Yes. They are rudbeckia. They're very like sunflowers and they come out the same time of year, but they're slightly different because they don't grow from seeds like sunflowers. And then in the wintertime, what do we get? Snowdrops. Well done. Very good. Some great gardeners amongst us. Right, quiz on to the next one to see what I was going to talk about next. Harvest.
Oh yeah,
Harvest.
Pumpkins.
I am from the country, you would know. There are pumpkins. And harvest used to be a big thing. This is my kitchen table. And those are my apples and my pears off my tree. I love it when I'm bringing those in and cooking them. And I've cooked lots of apples this past week or so, and I need to get the pears off the tree. It's one of there's any left after yesterday. But I love harvest. Have we any farmers in our midst?
No.
Oh, no. Right, I'd be wrong about something here. Right. One farmer. Now, when I was in New Mills, this was the best time of the year. And a marrow came out every year, and I had never seen a marrow. Does anybody ever see a marrow? What is a marrow? Exactly. A marrow is like a big overgrown courgette. No, it's a big fruit, vegetable thing. A bit bendy, but really big. And it appeared in New Mills. Nobody in New Mills ever ate marrow, as far as I was concerned. But the marrow always appeared for the harvest, along with a big bale of hay and probably a chicken and some eggs, and the apples all set around the pulpit. Does anybody recognize this scene from a country church? And it was a big thing because it meant something. Because all the farmers in the congregation were so glad that the harvest was in and everything was safe and they had had a good year, although they all complained all the time that it wasn't a good year, even when it was, but we know that. And we're going to learn something a wee bit about farmers today. We're going to learn the Makaton for farmer. Close your eyes for a second. Here's what it is. Sorry. Old MacDonald had a farm. Old MacDonald was very fat. And I think this is to do with the idea of harvest and abundance, and they grow food and they eat food, and that's a sign for a farmer. That's right. I'm not making that up. That is right. I was going to do a bit of a sing-along, see could anybody name the next line of this is the only time you'll hear me sing with a microphone. We plough the fields and the good seed. Yes, well done. Okay. Next one. Okay. What have I started? Yes. What about... This is more of a brighter one. Bringing in the sheaves. Bringing in the sheaves. We will go rejoicing. Bringing in the sheaves. Very good. What about this one? All good gifts around us. Thank the Lord for all his love. Excellent. Well done, everybody. Big round of applause. Those are very, very old songs and hymns, folks. You've never heard them before. Right, so we'll move on from the harvest, and we're going to have 2 readings now. And I have got my very good friend from school, Christina, and her daughter, Johanna, to come up and read the parable of the sower. So come on ahead, ladies. We need the handheld thing. Here we go. Microphone.
Thank you. So, parable of the sower. Later that same day, Jesus left the house and sat beside the lake. A large crowd soon gathered around him, so he got into a boat. Then he sat there and thought as the people stood on the shore. He told many stories in the form of parables, such as this one. Listen, a farmer went out to plant some seeds. As he scattered them across his field, some seeds fell on a footpath, and the birds came and ate them. Other seeds fell on a shallow soil with underlying rock. The seeds sprouted quickly because the soil was shallow, but the plants soon wilted under the hot sun, and since they didn't have deep roots, they died. Other seeds fell among thorns that grew up and choked out the tender plants. Still other seeds fell on fertile soil, and they produced a crop that was 30, 60, and even 100 times as much as had been planted. Anyone with ears to hear should listen and understand.
Well done, Christina.
Now, listen to the explanation of the parable about the farmer planting seeds. The seed that fell on the footpath represents those who hear the message about the kingdom and don't understand it. Then the evil one comes and snatches away the seed that was planted in their hearts. The seed on the rocky soil represents those who hear the message and immediately receive it with joy. But since they don't have deep roots, they don't last long. They fall away as soon as they have problems or are persecuted for believing God's word. The seed that fell among the thorns represents those who hear God's word, but all too quickly the message is crowded out by the worries of this life and the lure of wealth, so no fruit is produced. The seed that fell on good soil represents those who truly hear and understand God's word and produce a harvest of 30, 60, or even 100 times as much as had been planted. Amen.
Yes, thanks. Somebody take that off me. I don't know how to turn it off. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And boys and girls who are in the front row, what brilliant listening. Excellent listening, really paying attention. Now, can we go back, Tom, to the start of our little story? So we've learnt one thing about Macaton today. Farmer. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Right? Okay. So that's, apologies. Oh, he's gone. He's left. Oh, I've offended him. Oh, dearie me. So we are going to go over this wee story just one more time to make sure we've all got it. And mummies and daddies, I know we've heard this 1,000 times, but everything is worth listening to again that's coming from a parable, which is a funny story. What's a parable?
An earthly story with a heavenly.
An earthly story of the head. Jesus told stories to try and get people to understand stuff. And they were farmers he was talking to, so he knew they would understand this type of story. So you have proven yourselves to be pretty good gardeners and farmers. Do we need a seat each? Are you all right? You okay? You all right? Do you want to sit on your own? No, you're okay? Good. Right. So they have proved that they understand this, and you can understand this. So here's the sower. He's out sowing his seed. There's loads of different ways to sow seed, but he's doing it. He's called it broadcasting. Throwing it out like this. Got a wee bag here. He's throwing out the seed. Broadcasting. It's a gardening term. Here's another thing to learn today. Broadcasting the seed is doing this. And you can also sow in drills, which is different, and you can station sow, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We're learning a lot. The horses? Ploughing. Ploughing. Yes, we'll get to that. We've got a wee video of that later on. So he was broadcasting the seeds, and it was falling all over the place. So let's see where it fell first. Onto the path. Backbone for path. Path. Right? The pathway. The roadway. And people are walking on the roadway, aren't they? Well, nothing stood much of a chance falling onto a path, did it? It wasn't going to grow. Except the stone. But look, the birds thought this was great. It's sitting on the path. It's not sprouting. It's not going down into the soil. It's just sitting there. So down came the birds. And they picked up the seed and flew away. So that seed, was that going to grow a plant? No. Okay, next one. That was the path. The next one's the stones. Lots and lots of stones. And stones are all right if there's ground underneath them, but the problem is the water. Plants need water to grow. That's why my wee fern wasn't doing very well, because it wasn't damp enough for it. So they started to grow. Macaton for grow. But then they died. That's not really Macaton for plant dying, but works for me, right? They grew and they went, died. Right? So the plants died because there wasn't enough water, right? No good, stony ground. What's next? Can you remember? Stones. Thorns. Are thorns next? Yes. So these ones, there was ground, there was some ground, but there were already plants in it. There were already lots of plants there. That's right, they strangled them. They took the sun from them because plants also need light, right? So the plants came up. Here's Macaton for being strangled by other plants. And then guess what happened then? Right. So we have got no plants yet. Oh dear. The birds ate them. What happened next? Stony ground. They died. Then they got strangled. Next one. Can you remember?
They grew.
They grew. They grew and they grew and they grew and they flowered and fruited 100-fold. That's right. So they grew and they grew and they grew and they grew. And there was a great harvest. Right, that's it. Try it again. Grew. So your hand's like a wee envelope, and that's them growing up through the soil. They grew, and 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 they grew. And we had a great harvest. And they exploded. Well, hopefully they did, because that was the seed coming. Well done. Right, now we're going to explain it. But we're going to explain it with some pots. So the first one was footpath. So this is the pot. This is the path. Seed fell on there. Now, let's think what this really means. So we have to think about why Jesus telling this story. It wasn't about seed and growing, even though I want it to be. There's no seed, but if I was sprinkling the seed on, it would just go. onto the top there, and then the birds will come. So this is about, God says, this is about hearing and listening. There's 2 different signs in Magaton for hearing and listening, right? So are you watching? Because you watch before you hear when you're paying attention, right? This is the sign for hearing. Point to your ear, hearing. Very different from this one. Listening. Are we listening? Are we listening for all of the things you're being taught? You're listening for God's voice. And then the next one is even more important. We've got to hear. We have to understand. Understand it. So, first pot, the seed does not go in at all. We don't hear, and we don't listen, and we don't understand. That's not going to be us, sure it's not. Right, what's the next one? Stones. Stones, right? Anybody want a stone? As long as you hold it in your hand and you get back to me at the end, will this help you listen? Sometimes it does to hold something when you're listening. Who else needs a stone? I've got lots of them. Stones. There you go. Hold on to your stones, right? They help you concentrate. They help you listen and understand. Okay. So the next one, the seed falls into these stones and it starts to grow a little bit. So imagine you've been listening today in church or out in kids and you've heard something. Maybe you've learned a memory verse. Let me think of one. Anybody think of a memory verse? Good job, Paul Kelly's not here. Think of something we've learned. What about this one? If I start it, maybe you know the rest. For the greatest of these is love. Yes! For the greatest of these is love. Talks about love. And off you go and you get into your week and you think, oh, it was lovely because we did a wee heart thing and we were learning about love. And by the time the end of the week has come, you're battering your brother. You're not really loving him. Could that happen? No, of course not. Right? So we're forgotten. We can learn for a little while, but then we forget to keep going. We forget to do it. That's what it's like when the little seedlings come up. We know a little bit about it, but then we forget. So let's not do that. Okay, worry stones or thinking stones back in. Cheers, cheers. Thank you, thank you. Excellent. Brilliant. That was the stones. So that's 2. What was next? Now, the sad news about this is I did not have to go to the field at the bottom of the garden for this. I walked 3 steps from the front door and found a really big bramble that had rooted from the field next door into my holly tree and into the hydrangea. And it's really prickly. Does anybody want to feel it?
Me!
It's ouchy, ouchy, ouchy.
Me, I love poking sharp things that hurt.
Right, have a feel.
Yeah, that's nice. It's
No,
nice when it
wise
hurts
woman.
you. Nice when it hurts you.
Ouchies. It's really good and thorny, isn't it? It's really thorny. Oh, no. See, the girls are sensible. They wouldn't think of that. Boys, not so much. So if we hear God's word, right? So first of all, we've heard it. We have listened. We have understood. And then we have remembered a whole week later. And then actually we're pretty good at this thing. We get really good at it. And then we go to big school. And all of those things that we learnt and we remembered, boys and girls around us are doing really bad things. Right? They're using bad language. They're doing silly things. They're not telling the truth. And because we're with them, we get choked. All of the good things in us gets choked. And we stop doing those things. And we become like them. So are we seed? Planted? Choked? Dead? Hopefully not. Because there's 1 pot left. Never worry. It can stay here. I'm not bringing it home. There we go. Here is some lovely soil. This makes me happy. Look at this. There's actually bulbs planted in this as well. Way underneath. Isn't that lovely soil? Can you have a wee feel? Oh, it feels soft. If you were a wee seed, would you like to go in there? I would too. It's soft. Yeah. Great, isn't it? A wee bit of dirt. Sure, a wee bit of dirt never hurt anybody. So, let's see what we could get planted in this soil that we would like to grow. So all of the things that you've been learning.
You could never plant that.
Could you not? I think I could.
That's paper. That's paper and a stick.
You see this earthly story with a heavenly meaning bit? We're on the heavenly meaning now. So it's okay that this won't grow. We'll try something else. I have got seeds for you to take home. And a pot to put them in. And the only thing I didn't give you was any dirt because I thought it would get through around the car on the way home. So you may find your own dirt when you get home, but we're on the heavenly meaning. So let's stick with this. So who could read? Oh, I know. Right. Read.
When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. Psalms 56, verse 3.
That is a very good seed to plant, isn't it? And that's one that we... Do you hear it? Or have you listened? When I am afraid, when I'm scared, I put my trust in you, God. You'll be with me. Right? Will we remember that in a week when we're scared? Yeah, it will not be like the stones and it'll have disappeared in a week. And then when we're somewhere where someone's not being nice to us and we're a wee bit afraid in a year's time, in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, or in 50 years' time, we will not be afraid. That's a good one to remember. What's next? Well, this is a really long one.
Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Romans chapter 10, verse 13.
That's God's promise to us. Everybody who calls on the name of the Lord be saved. God save me. You remember that. Save me. Stay with me. Be with me forever. Everyone who calls the name. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter if you've done it before. You can do it again. That is a very good truth to remember. This is a super long one. Read it for me.
Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:32.
Excellent. So this was about forgiving people. This is a good one to remember, right? See, when you've got brothers and sisters, forgive people. So don't hold a grudge. Yeah? When people do something to you, yes, they will do something to you. What happens to us all, but we have to forgive because God forgave us. It's not a good thing to do. It's not good for you. Never mind for the other person. Right? This is another one. What about this one? Could you read me that one? Brilliant girl. Well done. For God so loved the world. Have you got the John chapter 3, verse 16? Let's do the whole verse together. Right? Ready? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have eternal life. John chapter 3, verse 16. Well done, everybody. Super job. You've all got that remembered. That one fell in good soil. 2 more.
I praise you and I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalms 139, verse 14.
We are fearfully and wonderfully made. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter what colour our skin is. It doesn't matter if we're short or tall. It doesn't matter if we speak well or don't. It doesn't matter if we can read. Doesn't matter. God loves everybody. He made us. He made us in his image. And when people say, I don't like your hair, Ruth, I thought, neither do I. But I go, this is the hair God gave me. And he made me like this. It's lovely. There we go. Last one. This one here, when I was a teenager, was the one that I remembered most or thought about most because I thought I couldn't do very much. Right? You've done two. Your second one.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4, verses 13.
Well done. Brilliant reading, everybody. Super. I can do all things. So God asks us to do some things we don't want to do. Right? Here. God asks us to do some things we don't want to do, but we can because God gives us the strength and the ability to do it. So just when you're scared and when you think you can't, you can. Those are the truths. Those are the seeds that we need to remember have fallen on the good soil and that we are going to hold forever. Well done, boys and girls. You have listened super well. And at the back, there are colouring in. If you want to get them for the rest of the service, it'll be very short because I'm notoriously long-winded. So we are going to be very short when I'm going to say to mummies and daddies. And there are pots with the story in it and some cress seeds to plant when you get home. And they should be grown in 2 weeks. You can eat them. They're the most tastiest things you've ever had in all your life. But they grow very fast.
But they're delicious.
They're not delicious at all, no. But you can have them, surely, yes. So there we go, boys and girls. Thanks very much. Do you want to stay or do you want to go back? You happy enough there? Right. I can't remember what's next. So just give me a wee second. Just wasn't sure how all of that was going to go, so I hadn't thought about the rest. Oh, I remember now. Demonstration's over. Now, back in the day, and I think this is 2018. Yeah, 2018, we had a gardening group. This is before COVID. You know the way life now is either something that happened before COVID or something that happened after COVID. We came to my house, and because I love playing about in the muck, we did quite a lot of planting at that time. A little group. Ashley was in it. Millie was in it. Who else came? Yeah. Paul was in it. Spuds. The spuds grew, Paul, didn't they? Right? And we talked a lot about gardening, and just for the crack for the adults, because the children haven't had enough, I have brought some of the things that I used for that gardening club that are very useful. It's like a sales pitch for various products that are good for the garden. First one are a decent pair of wellies. Now, these are muck boots, and my friend who's the farmer should know these are good welly boots. They do not let the water in. This is very important. And also you don't have to touch them to get them on or off. You know that, when you're really mucky boots and you have to put your hand at the bottom, you can just kick those off, no bother, and you can put them on without having to put your hand on them at all. So those are the best thing ever for gardening. Next, because of my wee sensitive skin and all the rest of it, either it's going to rain or it's going to be hot. It's never an in-between. So one does need a gardening hat and the usual gloves, secateurs, and those types of things. Now, I thought it would amuse everybody greatly if we had the lawnmower. So if you just watch those back doors there. I didn't bring the lawnmower. But I did bring something else for the fun. Because this is going to be very useful this afternoon. Isn't it? Woo, yee-hoo! Things you do in church for the crack. Anyway, so that was the intro to the adults part. So you know how this is going to go? Not well. So we did some great fun things when we had our gardening group. We planted potatoes, chitted them first on the windowsill in the egg boxes, and then we got them in and we learned to earth them up. And everybody came back with some potatoes, some more than others, but some potatoes. Then we did sweet pea. These are Millie's sweet pea. They were the best, weren't they, Millie? You did very well that year. It's been some disastrous years for sweet pea since. Like this year, it was far too hot for them. So sweet pea were another thing that we planted. And then we had the old disaster. So this was not the fault of the seed or the ground. It's the fault of the sower. Because that is actually a turnip. And the turnip at the end is no longer viable because said turnip probably was in the ground for 2 years. It had grown an almighty stalk. It had flowered. And then I found it. And it just was quite funny. Yeah. So not everything goes according to plan when you are gardening. And my next wee bit of this talk is kind of to make us who know this story inside out and upside down think about it in a slightly different way. And I'm going to make full disclosure that I read this from a Californian pastor called Eric Parker, and I'm just going to try and summarize what he said. He said, the soil is not the point of this story. And I don't entirely agree with him there because I do think the soil is the point, but he made some interesting comments about the sower. And we're reminded of the reading that starts off, first words, a sower went out. So he says this story is more about the sower than the seed. So back to the point that was made so clearly earlier by Ezra, there's different ways to sow seed. So the lady here, she's broadcasting the seed, as that word tickled him no end. Broadcasting the seed, throwing it out like the sower did in the story. That is cress. Do you want broccoli? Because there's some broccoli seeds there too. You can have them. Then the next one is sowing in drills. So it's a bit more labour intensive, but you don't waste any seed. They're all there. And they come up in a nice row, so you know what the weed is and what the seed is. And then this one where you sow them into little modules is called station sowing. So you're sowing them into the place where you get one plant in one wee pot. So those are the different ways of sowing. But this sower is broadcasting the seed. And we just love this idea of the sort of the wild abandon of it. Willing to imagine that these are going to grow, even in unexpected places. As we called our group back then, hope springs. You plant a seed, you don't know if it's going to grow. And it's wonderful when it does. It excites you. It makes you want to do it again. They might grow, not necessarily. And yet anybody who knows anything about modern farming, I keep looking over here, but I haven't got anybody to help me, will know that this is just not the haphazard way things are done in this day and age. These days, it's GPS ploughs that make maximum use of the soil, so they are going, knowing that exactly what they sow is what yield they're going to get. Air seeders measure the density and plant at the optimum places, the optimum times. Good soil is maximized, so it's really productive, and no seed is wasted, and poor soil is always avoided. So modern farming would not do this. In ancient days, it was a lot more low tech. It wouldn't have been that much different, but this isn't the point that Jesus is making. A good sower knows where to seed, and he also knew where to avoid so he wasn't going to waste this valuable seed. But the interesting part of this is he talks about the return of 30, 60, or 100-fold return. That would have blown their minds because you didn't really get that. That's an awful lot of return for your seed falling on good ground. Nearly unimaginable. But when we hear this story, we always want to be the good ground, don't we? So I've told, and you're going, no, I don't want that to be me, and I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be influenced. I don't want to not understand or forget God's word. I want to be the good soil. But yet we know that for most of our time, we are the rocky soil. We are the soil full of weeds and the thorny soil. We all wish we could do better, pray better, give more, share our faith more easily with our families and friends, invite more people to church. We wish we could. We wish we were good ground. But that's not always the case. We can see and feel the rocks and the thorns and the hardness inside us. But in the parable, we get caught up in this idea of seeds and soil. And we like to imagine where we fit in it. So we're just going to have a wee video now and have a think about real farming and what it means when they're planting seeds.
What have you been doing?
What do you mean?
What have you been doing?
Going up and down?
Going up and down like this?
No, I went up and then went across
Right.
like that.
Oh, that's
When you get the picture sorted out, you will know from the voices that this is the very famous Jeremy Clarkson, who has done so much for British farming, I have to say, because we all
What have
knew...
you been doing?
What do you mean?
What have you been doing?
Going up and down?
Going up and down like this?
No, I went up and then went across like that.
Oh, that sign of me going up there is not happening. We're going to have a sign saying, guess who drilled this? Jeremy Caleb.
Well, what's the matter with that?
I said every 8th time you're putting a tram line in. Your tram line's going to be everywhere. On this bit here, you can have no tram lines. When I come to spray it and fertilise it, how do I know where to drive?
Guess. I'll do it properly now, or is it too late?
Oh, it's too late. You're pretty much screwed. And you haven't even drilled it straight.
What do you mean I haven't drilled it straight?
That's as straight as a roundabout.
Well, it's because it started off bent there by the hedge, so it's still bent here.
Wasn't that bent, no, was it?
You didn't say you must do that because if you
I
don't...
did tell you that.
I couldn't understand what you're on about. It's country speak.
Everyone is going to see this.
I'll buy you a drink later and you'll feel better. I'm in so much trouble.
What have you been doing?
What do you mean?
What have you been doing?
Going up and down?
dear.
Going up and down like this?
No,
So-
I went up and then went across
He's
like...
going again.
Oh, that sign.
So that's funny. We love watching Clarkson's farm because he has so much to learn. So that was about the seeds being in the right place, the seeds being in the soil. And it was not really anything to do with what I'm saying, other than a tenuous link to GPS farming and all the things about it. But this parable isn't about seeds or soil. And Jesus has given us the clue right at the beginning, the parable of the sower. It's not all about us. It's all about God. About this God who is radical and haphazard and sometimes all over the place, who seeds his love everywhere, not just in the places that are the good soil. When Jesus explains, he encourages anyone to be good soil or good seed. It's the parable of the sower. It's the one who owns and works the field, the one who owns and plants the seed. It's about a God who's willing to see possibilities in us, even on the days where we are the rocky, stony, weed-filled soil. So it's a God who declares that the hard-packed earth is acceptable, that all soils are good enough for his word to be scattered on. They mightn't grow, but possibly they will. So this is a God who has decided to scatter grace and mercy and love in all directions, on all soils, rocky, shallow, thorny, and good. He wants the word of the kingdom to be heard everywhere and anywhere. He is determined to let this creation, these seeds and this soil know that we are cherished and loved, imperfections and all. So I really like that thought at the end of this parable, because we know so well that it was all about the soil at the start. It was all about getting the seed in the right place. But yet God says, I sowed it everywhere. I let it fall in those places because it might be all right. And also because we are imperfect people. And if we were always waiting to be the good soil, could be waiting a long time. Yeah. So just a wee bit of a different take on it at the end. This generosity of the sower in the midst of everything. So we've got another wee video for you to watch, which is just equally funny. Nothing to do with anything. But
yeah. Why? You've still got rape.
Yeah.
Why? I think it's a risk.
It is a risk.
When did it last rain?
I can't remember.
April. There's no moisture. The ground's hard. We've got to have flea beetle pressure. I don't know when it's going to rain.
But I think it's a risk we've got to take. How many farmers this year have not grown rape because of the weather?
Okay, quite a lot.
A lot, yes. So therefore the price, if it's 575 at the moment, in a year's time, when there's a shortage of rape because of the reason of no farmers are growing it because of the weather, yeah, that price could increase. If this pulls off,
or it fails,
I am willing to risk planting oilseed rape this year. As farm manager.
Are you chasing the bottom line of the farm, or are you just trying to chase Jeremy because he's got a good head start?
The farm. And Joe.
You've still got rape.
Yeah.
Farm and Jeremy. There you have it at the end in a nutshell. Willing to risk. God is willing to risk sowing seed that may or may not bear fruit. He is broadcasting this wide, far and wide, waiting to see what we do with it, waiting to see, is it a good soil day for us or not? So just to finish, does he want us to be the good soil? Yes. Does he want us to bear fruit? Yes. But his overwhelming, generous and unfailing love is the untold part of this parable. Listen, Jesus says, a sower went to sow. And with those first few words, he gives us the good news that God has decided to love us no matter whether we feel we're good enough or not. Because God's love is given because God has declared it for us and over us.
Thanks for listening to this message. For more information on what's happening in the life of our church, visit vineyarddungannon.co.uk.